What's holding you back from being an effective older educator? Now, you may not have completely stepped into this idea, I want to be an educator, but there are elements of your life now that you will find as an older where becoming an educator in whatever form, it could be as a mentor, mentoring youngers or other olders, whatever it might be. So I wanted to share with you from my own personal experience those things that got in the way for me, but also how I countered them. But I'm also pulling from this 50 plus years of experience with others, chatting with other educators, and actually going in and doing my own studies in adult education, to actually coming back and becoming a professor in adult education and high performance improvement. So I'm pulling from quite a bit here, but lots and lots of experience in different settings around the world in different industries. And I thought that I would share with you the 7 really keys that unfolded a much better educator approach for me, education approach. And then what I've got is a key concept and practice. And I'll chat about that at the end. And then I have a really wonderful way of, based on a triangle, of reminding you, like a quick prompt that you could keep front and center as you are moving forward. So this is really a presentation about helping you, guiding you to become a great remarkable, memorable, extraordinary, effective educator in whatever form that might be. But let's jump into some aspects of this story about what's holding you back. The first one is this sense of a lack of confidence. You don't believe you have relevance because of where you are as an older, and you might think that your ideas might be outdated. That could be the farthest from the truth that there is. One of the things that I'm attempting to do is help people to understand what it means to be aging confidently. So to have that self-assuredness is that the wisdom that you have is of value for the communities in which you're interacting. It could be with family and friends even. And that what you're able to do is provide a different context for what's taking place. And through conversations, collaborative conversations, sharing those perspectives, even with youngers, you get to share your context, you get to listen to their context, and together you can improve focus and strengthen whatever it is you're doing. Now, one of the great things I always remind people is yes, you can go to Google and do a how to search or a why search or what search, whatever it might be. Lots of AI tools that are coming on board. But there's something that you as an older hold, and this is you have a background understanding that goes with the foreground understanding. So often when you do a search, you get the foreground, but you don't always get the deeper backstory. That's where an older can be of great help, is sharing that background. And so I encourage you to think about it from that perspective, is that you have this experience, this wisdom, the context, the background that you can pull from. The next thing is you might question, oh, do I deal with this new technology? There's so much coming at me. Well, one of the things I encourage you to do is to become adept at adopting and adapting. You don't have to go grab everything, but if you understand how to be adept at going and saying, oh, I think I can adopt this and use it, and then find ways to adapt it into your presentation, the way in which you live, then what you're able to do is to take this digital world that's coming at us fast and furious, including AI apps and technologies, and be able to say, hey, listen, which of these platforms makes sense to me and that I can work with? And you might go, well, the platform might be as, well, how do I use a social media, digital media platform? Great. You may be involved with one now, but how might I use it from an education point of view? There are the different AI, artificial intelligence channels that you can get involved with and platforms and say, what's going on? But you can tap into others. There may be some who really are into AI and you're going, I'm not sure I want to, but I like to write, but could we work together to help one another? Possibility there. What's the focus that you're coming from? Are you a focus in terms of helping someone to get started, to help someone map out a pathway? Are you looking to help people create the project format for what's going on? Are you wanting to bring all of those together for even your own legacy project? So, being able to tap into this digital world, understand these platforms that are available, encouraging conversations with others so you can figure out your focus, that will help your educator approach. Next, what might happen is you might get into the pole of judgment. Oh, suppose, propose, you got all these different kind of different, I'm not quite sure where I'm going with it, or maybe you're encountering people who are saying, you can't do that, you're older. They're presenting this sort of there's possibility, but maybe you're not going to get anywhere with it. Where with it, maybe you're encountering this ageism. So I would encourage you to reframe like suppose and propose and possibilities and that, and say they're great. They're actually something between yes and no. And I bring this forward because there's a chap by the name of Edward de Bono who talked about pole between yes and no. Yes, there's this direction. No, I don't want to go in this direction. But pole is, well, I'm not quite sure about saying yes or no at the moment. So, in being an educator, don't go, well, yes, I'll do it this way. No, I'll do it this way. Maybe enter into a little bit of pole and challenge some of those judgments you have or others are putting on you. This thing about ageism, I would encourage you, is an ISM. What it was meant to do is to determine the quality and experience of something. So the quality and experience of aging. Unfortunately, it has taken different meaning and it sort of is a takedown now, when in actual fact it was meant to open up. So you can reclaim that if you want. But here's some other ideas to think about. Rather than becoming your own critic, become your cheerleader and see what unfolds for you there. Make sure that you do well and keep the well-being, the well-living moving forward for yourself. Get into, well, I can understand it. Let me comprehend it, analyze it, synthesize it. What do I value here? So instead of just understanding it, what do I value in what is unfolding? So from your educator approach, you could understand it, but what do you value about your educating approach? Or the question of educating. I understand I want to get into some educating. There's some things I want to share. But what's the value by doing that with whatever audience I'm interacting with? And tap into your years of extraordinary experiences. Each one of us is on a unique journey, and we've had great adventures together. What is it that you can pull from to be able to counter any judgment calls that are coming your way, or your own personal judgment calls, or thinking that you might be encountering some kind of ageism as you're reaching out to do things? No, become your cheerleader. Do well. Your well being, your well living. Take care of yourself. Move from just understanding to valuing what's going on and tap into those years of extraordinary experience. What about if you encounter, I don't think that I have the energy to do this. Maybe I have a burn in, burn out that's going on, and you're going, and you sort of dragging yourself a little bit. Well, that goes with that do well from a well being, well living point of view. So I would encourage you to think about from hands, your physical, get up and get moving. Can you do some of your educating while moving? Possibility, depending on the kind of activity that you're wanting to educate about. How do you make sure that your head and heart are there, the mental, the emotional aspects are accompanying the hands. That is something you can see my hands moving, and I'm bringing this sort of wholeheartedness, my wholeheadedness, my mental, emotional to the foreground, and making sure that I'm taking care of myself. One of the best places that I go to take care of myself is with nature. And nature is a great muse and metaphor. It can be one of your educator companions if you want it to be. And sharing alive is so important. And when I wrote this one, I was thinking about the Bee Gees' Staying Alive song. And I said, oh, hang on, sharing alive is sharing so that you continue to be alive, to aliven what it is that has meaning for you. So instead of saying, I'm going to tell something, I'm going to share something. And being able to bring your hands, head, and heart to the foreground, taking care of yourself and taking care of others and sharing alive. That is something to be really in tune with. So don't overlook connections. This emotional mental story sometimes gets away, and we go, well, I don't need to really talk to anyone today. Okay, so I'll just do something here. Maybe I'll write something up. What would happen if you took it and looked at it a little differently away and said, okay, from an empathy point of view, I got into someone else's shoes. In this case, might be the learners that you're interacting with. What is it that I could do today to help them, which would help me? In other words, taking care of yourself. That's a theme that's going through here. But then what you do is you can figure out from an empathy point of view, how might I help them? And it might actually reframe your approach, because what you want to do is you to engage with them, not participate with them. Engage has a little bit more emotional connection with them. Participate has more of a mental connection with them. But I also, here's something I learned valuable probably in the last 5 to 10 years, is in my listening and responding, there's what I call now the credibility pause. I make sure that I don't just go from listening to responding right away. I sometimes just take half a second, and just, I call that my credibility pause, because it adds credibility, is that you're making sure that your response allows you to get this rapport, to get a connection. So your educating approach that you're going to use, this credibility pause, allows you to establish rapport. So being able to tap into empathy, to engage rather than participate, to find that credibility pause and that rapport. What that does is it ensures that you're connecting, you're staying connected. What about this one? Me asking for help? Nah. And then all of a sudden you go, whoops, hang on a minute. Asking for help is something as an older that is really important, because it establishes along this younger, older, elder continuum, who are you asking for the assistance? Someone younger? Someone of your own age? An elder, possibly? Because what you're looking for here is to establish feed forward, to tap into what is it that I can learn about the presence now that moves me forward. And therefore, asking others for that insight is really important. And as an educator, getting that feed forward allows you to go, okay, then if I bring this in, I bring this in. If I get adapt or adopt this, these are ways that I can be a better assistant. So you bring all those other ways that I've just been talking about that might get in the way, so that with this feed forward, you get on the way. And therefore, find ways to collaborate, have collaborative conversations. While you be assertive, you can be cooperative. That's being collaborative. And then reframe. Don't take what it is that you have said, oh, okay, this is the way that I do it, reframe it. Be challenged, reframe it with others, have conversations to reframe. The same with the rescript. Maybe the words that you're using aren't what is going to land in today's interactions. That's one that I've been learning a lot about, is this whole rescripting. And I'm okay with that. Sometimes it's, oh, I'd still like to use that word, but no, I have to use a different one. Oh, I like that phrase, but oh, I can't quite use that anymore. I have to really pay more attention to the words and the patterns and the shapes that I'm sharing. So to be able to understand, asking is a strength because it gives you feed forward. It allows you to collaborate, to reframe, rescript. These are all great insights and skills, concepts and practices that help you to move forward. There is an importance to understand where you are as an older along this younger, older, elder continuum. There is value in understanding that because at some point in time, you as a younger declared yourself an older. Sometimes that happens 40, 50s. And then when a community recognizes you as an older, they would give you the term elder and you can call yourself an elder. Now, I'm always aware of the use of younger, older, elder because there are times when I'm an older, but I'm a younger, older. And then there's times when I'm an older, older. I haven't quite found a community yet that would give me the term elder. That's okay. There are institutions, social cultural groupings that use the word elder, and it's very purposeful for its recognition. And so the term elder, I'm still looking and saying, will that happen for me? I don't know. I offer it to you. Does it happen for you? That's why this was termed as an older, this presentation as an older, picking up on that from a foreground point of view. And so challenge yourself on this younger, older, elder continuum and looking for mutuality. How can you help one another? There's also the ethics. Ethics is a shared way of interacting with each other. Words like trust and respect and caring and accountability. These are words that people wouldn't probably argue that they don't exist, but they do exist when you're interacting with one another. I mentioned it already, but it's something I want to make sure I get across. It's about share care. The education approach that you're going to use, is it a share care? Is that how you are presenting it and letting it unfold? So I've covered off the 7 ways you're held back from being an effective older educator while providing some counter suggestions for you. And I also mentioned at the beginning that I was going to share this key concept, this way forward, and also the triangle reminder, and that's what follows. So, one of the things to recognize is how you learn is not how you educate others. I am a visual learner. I'm not very auditory. I tend to pick up things physically. And if I go about only doing it through educating through visuals and through physical, I may not be able to get to those who are auditory, who like to read, like to listen to things. So I have to keep saying to myself, okay, visual, auditory, kinesthetic, visual, auditory, kinesthetic in my approach, visual, auditory, kinesthetic. So I'd encourage you as well. How do you use those? Because it's easy to slip into, well, this is how I learn, this is how I'm going to do it, and then wonder why you're not getting any kind of response. People aren't interacting with you. Oh boy, did I learn this one. I had a lot of different kind of courses in a lot of different settings. And if I slipped up on the visual, auditory, kinesthetic, I figured it out pretty quickly and I did some adjustments. But I learned my lesson over the years. And then I have a really wonderful way of, based on a triangle, of reminding you, like a quick prompt that you could keep front and center as you are moving forward. Now, here is a diagram that I think is of great importance, because what I'm attempting to do here is to remind you is that what you're attempting to do as an educator is help to counter ignorance, where people may have stopped learning something that would be of value to them in living their lives. And there are even olders who have found themselves in places of ignorance where they've stopped learning. What is it that you can do to counter this ignorance that you find yourself interacting with at times? Then there's complacency, when people stop taking action. And how might you encourage them to get back into, or to extend action, to get involved, to engage with what's taking place, to make sure that they're finding out different points of view, getting ways to challenge their perceptions and their perspectives. And then there's the doubt, which slips in when both ignorance and complacency sort of come together. They fall together and then they show up as doubt. And this is the feeling of lack of confidence. And if you remember at the very beginning of this video, I was challenging this sense of lack of confidence. Is how do you find this self-assuredness to get engaged, to find ways in which to continue moving forward. And as an older, it's so appreciated that you give us an opportunity to interact with you so we can learn from your experiences, to tap into that context that you have, that background understanding. That is so important. And don't let that slip away on us, because that would be something that would be missing in our lives. And if you are on this unique journey and we adventure together, then those adventures together help you with your unique journey. And therefore, having listened to this video, how can you use it to adventure together with others, but also to improve focus and strengthen your unique journey? I encourage you to do is, there's 3 YouTube channels. The one that you're watching this video on is Younger, Older, Elder, and it's all about legacy and legacy life and living a legacy life and Legacy Project 89. So please watch the videos there. But if nature calls you, then on an intermittent basis, I put information up at Awareness, or Awareness from Forests, and a link will be down below. But another channel that we put videos up on, and by we, I have a co-creator, elder, in his own world of mentoring, who's recognized in that field. We put up videos on the International Mentoring Community channel. So you can certainly go over there and get a little bit more. I would encourage you, as those who are after 50, whether you as a person or you as a group, if you're watching this together, that after 50 plus years of my own experience working it together, if I can be of assistance to you in your after 50, in your next 50 life, to be able to really find ways in which to bring your educator to the foreground, and to be of understanding and valuing how to make that happen, then I would so appreciate opportunity to share. Maybe there is a workshop that I could offer. Maybe there's one-to-one mentoring. I'm not sure. Let's see what unfolds for us as we move forward.